What's up, guys, and welcome to this. This is episode 1 of Wrestling Rewind right here on the SOS Wrestletalk channel. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, drop a comment, your thoughts and opinions on this episode of TNA Impact, and smash the subscribe button. This is episode 1 of Wrestling Rewind. What we're going to be doing right here on this series is we're going to be taking a year and we're going to review every single episode of the weekly show as well as the pay-per-view. So I'm going to be deciding that I'll be going with TNA from 2006, just simply because it's actually a year that I actually haven't watched much of. I've watched TNA since mid-2008. My first pay-per-view was Victory Road 2008, when Frankie Kazarian did the crazy leg drop off the top of the Ultimate X structure. So I thought, fuck it. I haven't watched this year before. Let's dive in. Let's get into a series I can really sink my teeth into and really enjoy, and I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. To watch these shows, the pay-per-views will be fine, they'll all be on YouTube, but to watch the impacts, it is TNA Plus. No affiliation at all, just the way I watched it. So unfortunately, that's unless you can find a pirate's life for you, that is the way how you can physically watch these shows. When it is the pay-per-views, I'll put the link in the description to the actual pay-per-view to watch on YouTube. So we're going to start from here, the 1st of January 2006. We're going to work all our way to the end. And one thing I like about this series is I can record in bulk. So I can record 3-4 episodes and then that covers it. Right, so if anything happens in life, if I get busy, the recordings are still there. They're not going to go anywhere. So that's my idea with doing this series. Just simply because I'm a very busy man, working and partner and family and friends, so I kind of want to be able to just be like, right, at least every Friday this piece of content comes up. So we are live. Well, they weren't live, they were taped. This is a strange episode. This was only literally 20 odd minutes in length, so I assume including commercials this was just a half an hour special that took place on the 1st of January 2006. We were from the Impact Zone. I fucking miss that building, man. That's something Ring of Honor should do. I know they tried it for a while in a Universal studio, and it didn't look right, and it didn't have a feel that TNA had, because it just felt like an NXT to basically AEW at the time. But man, if you've never watched TNA from this era, you have to. I mean, if I could go, there's so many places I'd love to go. Obviously ECW Arena, Korakuen Hall. But the Impact Zone is an underrated one, man, because the energy they bring, the vibe, it's just great. Commentary team as well is Mike Tenay and the late great Don West. Man, what a team. I believe that you either loved them, and I mean loved them, or they got on your nerves. I am on the love side. I am a positive PT when it comes to Don West and Mike Tenay, simply because, 2008, I was a young boy. Not really, but I was getting there. And it was simply that it was joy to my ears. It was something different. It felt like the alternative, which is something that I wish AEW goes back into. I shouldn't really be referencing current day events when people could be listening to this in years' time. Anyway, so let's get on with the actual show. So the show started off with pyro, confetti pouring down the Impact Zone as it's the start of a brand new year. Mike Tenay's in the ring. He's with Christian Cage, where they announced that Sting has signed with TNA Wrestling. Obviously, he made appearances before on when they were doing their weekly pay-per-view stints, but he's officially signed a 1-year contract. The Stinger will be coming to TNA. And then Christian Cage goes on to cut a promo saying, and before that actually, Mike Tenay goes in like a passionate one, how 2006 is going to be the year of TNA, and it's so passionate, so you just got to dig it. Christian Cage then cuts a promo saying the final resolution will be Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett against Christian Cage and Sting. That will be January the 15th. So there's actually only 2 episodes of Impact before that pay-per-view. So Jeff Jarrett, the NWA World Champion, he comes out, he hypes the pay-per-view, rips the crowd, and then just goes on to say that Christian Cage will never be a World Champion. And then Cage goes, I don't want to verbally abuse you, I want to physically abuse you, slap nuts. and then that pissed off Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett then comes out, brawls with Christian until Monty Brown comes out to help Jeff Jarrett. Ryder then comes out to try and help Christian, which makes sense. Obviously, at Mania 17, for fuck's sake, there were buddies involved in that triangle ladder match. Then AMW then helped Jeff Jarrett. Team 3D then come and fight AMW because they're fighting for the NWA Tag Team Championships at the Final Resolution pay-per-view. It all went on. It was, everyone kind of got involved. It was perfect, man. It was, you developed loads of stories in a 5-minute promo. You know, it was, and also hyped the company. And if that's your first time watching TNA, especially with I doubt there was much on at midnight, and if you're up, that would have been a really good, you know, because there's guys you're familiar with Christian, you're familiar with Jeff Jarrett, presumably you're definitely familiar with Team 3D, so it was kind of a really good all-in-one, and you're making people want to kind of watch next week. And then we had the one match on the show. We had the NWA World Tag Team Championship. You have Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles challenging AMW, which is America's Most Wanted, which is James Storm and Chris Harris with Gail Kim. What a lineup! And Chris Harris, man, that's one thing I'm gonna enjoy about going through and seeing these guys in being hindsight being a beautiful thing. You know, Chris Harris was incredibly talented. His stuff with, you know, James Storm and AMW was legendary in TNA. And then James Storm went off. He did his singles thing actually first. He went off and did his tag team run with Beer Money, which I'm going to be honest is probably in my top 10 tag teams of all time. Believe it or not. And again, it's just because of the age I was. You know, I was kind of 12, 13, 14 when they were kind of going on that run. I remember going to TNA when they came to the UK in January. And I remember it being such a big deal, and I loved Beer Money, man. I absolutely loved them. So the bias is there, and quite frankly it is. But then even then, James Storm went on, became world champion of TNA, beat Kurt Angle just after Bound for Glory in 2012. And then obviously Bobby Roode then went on to have it after. But he went on to become a world champion. He did a brief cup of coffee in NXT, and then he's just kind of doing stuff here and there now. He'll pop up in NWA, he'll pop up in your local independent, and it's a shame. I think James Storm is criminally underrated, not talked about enough, as is Beer Money. But, you know, Bobby Roode went on, producer, probably set for life. And James Storm, I hope he's out there and having a good one. But yeah, Chris Harris is the same. Went off to WWE in 2007 or 8. Was shit. Let's just call a spade a spade. Didn't work out. Got released. He came back to TNA for a little bit. Had some runs and Impact, and then that was it. So it's quite unfortunate. Gail Kim went on to become one of the greatest TNA knockouts of all time. AJ Styles, legend of the industry. Christopher Daniels, legend of the industry. Still kicking it in AEW, and AJ Styles still kicking it in WWE, even though he's nearly 50. Crazy. So let's get to this match anyway. So it was really strange hearing AJ come out to his original TNA Get Ready to Fly. So it wasn't the 2008, 2009, 2010 Get Ready to Fly, which was a fucking what a song. I remember back in the day before it was there was no Spotify or there was no Apple Music back then in kind of 08, 09 and 10. You would connect your phone to your computer or laptop, whatever it is you had, and then you'd go to YouTube, you'd download it, and then you would then upload that onto your phone. That would be how you'd get your music. So sometimes you were blessed with good memory storage, or you could have 5 or 6 songs. I remember I had, because back then I was TNA mad. I promise you, TNA mad. 08 kind of 2012, 2013. I was TNA mad, absolutely mad. I remember I had AJ Styles, Motor City Machine Guns, their 2010 song, Beer Money, Kurt Angle, and Matt Morgan. I had Matt Morgan's song. I remember those songs being on my phone and playing them. It's crazy, and seeing him in chunks as well is quite phenomenal. Man, this was so good. Just seeing the drop down leapfrog from AJ Styles is just, especially seeing him now, the stuff he's currently doing in 2025 with WWE is quite upsetting. Seeing how fucking great he was 20 years ago. Um, it's again that what if. Back to Chris Harris, that what if Chris Harris never went to WWE, would we have had beer money? And without beer money, would Bobby Roode not have gone on to go be world champion, TNA world champion, NXT US champ? You know, it's always the butterfly effect, isn't it? Always. So this was decent. AMW cutting the ring in half, working over Christopher Daniels. AJ gets a hot tag, he clears house, hits a nice torture rack bomb for a 2. AJ then hits a tope con hilo. AJ then hits a running clothesline in the corner, and then Harris catches him and hits a boss man slam, and it was a nasty bump on that 6-sided ring, and you can just tell with these bumps that they're not pretty, they're not nice, and they're not exciting, and certainly not pleasurable to take. That was a nasty bump. Speaking of bump, we had a ref bump, Rudy Charles. He's still doing WWE refereeing, it's crazy. Daniels then goes for a BME, lands on his feet. Storm then as he does that, Storm hits the last call super kick, which is so good. Styles then hits a Style Clash, no ref, and then Shannon Moore attacks AJ. Not much reaction from the crowd. Storm then covers AJ, ref gets back up, 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing you're setting up AJ versus Moore here, but what's really strange is at the pay-per-view, AJ Styles is marked to wrestle Hiroshi Tanahashi. So I don't know if that's kind of, this is a storyline that's going to go past that, whether that's going to continue at the pay-per-view. Who knows? We'll only find out by continuing to watch this. And AMW still retain, they'll be challenging, they'll be defending their championship against Team 3D at the pay-per-view. And then we have a 2005 video package highlight airing, and then there's like Sting graphics that are like teasing that he'll be there. Only one match on the show, it was only like 20-25 minutes long, but you built up your pay-per-view main event. It was a decent tag match. If this was your first time watching TNA, this definitely would have whet your appetite, if you will. So there we have it. Overall, this is a pretty damn... It's so quick, it's hard to kind of rate a 20-minute show, but it was an okay show. But a good way to start off. Apologies, this one's only 12 minutes in length. I promise I'll try and go longer in the future with these shows. But with that in mind, guys, again, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification button as well. Every Friday, a new episode of TNA 2006 Wrestling Rewind will be uploaded. So the next review of TNA from 2006 you guys can get ready is January the 7th, 2006. On this show we have quite a lot going on, to be honest. We have a really good 6-man tag with X Division guys, Ron Killens and Bobby Roode, and loads of build heading up to the pay-per-view Final Resolution 2006. So with that in mind, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below what you think, or whether you've watched the show, memories, or am pumped for this fucking series. So stay safe, stay well. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll be catching your asses down the line.